wants to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Good afternoon, Cayman Islands, and good morning to our global family. Yes, welcome to Sabrina Speaks. Yes, it is a pleasure to be back here with you on this Wednesday afternoon. We know it's morning in another country, definitely over there in Australia. It's a different day. And to our family over there in the UK, we know it's getting late in the night, and we know that you stay up. We thank you for your support. It's good to have you with us every day, literally. Yes, today is hump day. Yes, and I'm so happy it's Wednesday, but no short of information. Oh my God, we're not short of content as content creators here in this space with what's happening regionally and around the world, and even right here at home. You got to keep it real. You got to not only be conscious of what's happening regionally, internationally, but you keep your finger on the pulse with what's really right on your doorstep. But yes, it's good to be back with you here this afternoon for another thought-provoking, engaging conversation. I know yesterday got a little emotive. I saw the comments, but you know what? You're entitled to your opinions. They're welcome here, and you're all welcome here as long as it remains respectful. I will definitely not want to take anything personal in respects of your opinion. And the way in which I structure this show is based on research that I find, not taking one side or the other. It is objective, and I'm not clouded by political alliances or anything like that. This is all for information. But it's good to have all of you joining us for this episode of Sabrina Speaks, where we're voices of the islands, conversations for the world, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration definitely takes center stage. I hope that you've been having a wonderful afternoon thus far, and to all of our persons out there on the front line and our uniform service officers, thank you for your service. For all of you who are out there in the healthcare industry, again, as well, thank you for all that you do. The content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and or participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for your specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. 345-936-8255 is the number to call to be a part of the discussion if you so desire to join us here live. That number, I'm also able to accommodate and receive WhatsApp messages. And of course, I will protect you if you want to share those messages anonymously. So that's 345-936-8255. Now, we know, as I said here, just starting off, that across the world, we are, oh my gosh, we are literally by the second witnessing even not only leadership changes as we're seeing and setting into new administration, but also what appearing now, and based on the tone of conversation, threats of intervention, and definitely the rising geopolitics tensions. We've been hearing certain terms being used, and I'm hoping each episode that there has been some takeaways for each of you who are joining us here Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. local time until 7 p.m. But for small island states like ours, the Cayman Islands, you know, these events, what I'm seeing, are not distant. And what we're seeing, they ripple across even our shores, directly or indirectly. And as we are the Cayman Islands, though we are a British overseas territory, we cannot pretend to be insulated. I have said this repeatedly over and over and over again. Our very own proximity, our tourism sector, our financial industry, and even our food security are really tied directly, say what you like, the United States. It's also tied to Canada and our Caribbean neighbors. And any fallout of whatsoever with, let's say, the UK, hypothetically, does not stay in London. It lands right here in Georgetown, West Bay, and in Bodden Town. As I said, hypothetically. So I encourage you to stay tuned with me for more. And don't forget to follow Sabrina Turner, community activist, on Facebook. And also, you can find me on YouTube, The Sabrina Speaks Show, and all CMRTV.com platforms so that you never miss an episode. But it is, as I said, great to be back with you this evening for this episode of Sabrina Speaks. And oh my, I did not save this. Here we go. Did I? No, I did not. I want to make sure that I got you locked and loaded when it comes to exactly our temperatures here, because I got a message the other day. I didn't hear you with the weather. And I was like, oh, really? Oh, here we got it. I just didn't post it. But yeah, thank you. Compliments of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Here is the weather forecast for the Cayman Islands for this evening into tomorrow. Now, the synopsis called for moderate winds and seas are expected as a ridge of high pressure dominates the weather pattern across the northern Caribbean. And a surface trough continues to linger to the south of the islands, bringing some cloudiness over the Cayman area. Now, satellite images show scattered clouds to the south of the area. The forecast for tonight calls for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be east to northeast 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Now, tomorrow's forecast calls for mostly fair with a 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the mid-80s with a heat index of 90. Winds will be east to northeast 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Now, there will be a low tide this evening at 7:25, and tomorrow a high tide is at 1:24 a.m. with another low at 7:13 in the morning. The sun will set this evening at 6:01 and sunrise tomorrow at 7:02. Jimbo, yeah. Now, the outlook for the weather here in the Cayman Islands is for an increase in winds and seas expected as a secondary high pressure system builds over the Western Atlantic Ocean, bringing moderate to rough seas from Friday, and a small craft advisory will likely be issued. We want to thank the staff and all of the guys over there at the Cayman Islands National Weather Service for keeping us up to date. And I must say, their forecasting has been on the money. I've been loving it, and hence me sharing it, of course, with each and every one of you. Now it's that time. I got to say, birthday shout outs to one of my closest human beings. Yes, a very good friend, a gem. And I got to say, happy birthday. And thank you all for all of you sharing the love for our friend, my friend, Des Ebanks, who's celebrating her birthday today. There's an inside joke that she's like the other wife here in the family. And we worked closely together. She is a beast when it comes to being involved in the Red Bay Prospect community for years. She's been an advocate for traffic, and she's just a sweet soul. She's just nice. She's just one of those human beings that you just love to have around you, always positive, but do not judge her stature. She packs a heck of a punch, but she has a heart of gold. And Des, I want to wish you a very happy birthday. I hope that you had a wonderful day and that it'll continue. And I wish you all the best for this year, and wishing you many more birthdays to come. It has been a pleasure to have you in my life, to have been able to work with you on a civic level. And even to today, you are still a real big community activist and a citizen of the Cayman Islands who really loves your country, and definitely play a part in being the solution as a regular member of civil society. So God bless you, continue to bless you and keep you always. And happy birthday from all of us here on the Sabrina Speaks family for sure. Look at you, girl. You're looking fine. You're looking fine. Well, yeah. And to anybody that I may have missed, like I said, if it doesn't come up on my Facebook page or somebody doesn't send me, I am not going to automatically just do it. But that doesn't bar me wishing everyone who's celebrated a birthday today that I may not have had an image of or not even be aware of. And for those of you who are celebrating anniversaries as well, happy anniversary and happy birthday to anyone and everyone who's celebrating a birthday today. It is a pleasure to share your birthday here on this platform with all of our friends and family. Hey, Marshall, how you doing? Good evening to you. And whoever just Tulu, hi, welcome. It's good to have you here. And Rapper Staunch, what's up? Cost of living. I'm just happy to be alive. Damian Henry, how are you? Good evening. Always good to have you here and good to see the regulars. Connie Bonnie, how are you, my love? Yes, Jim and the Massive. Jimbo, you get exclusive messy. I noticed she's been adding it on, Jimbo. Oh, yeah, Jim, she's been adding your name. Make sure she's going to just sneak right back into your life after she kicked you out. But there, that's what it's all about. The love, the love, the love, the love. Hey, to you as well. It's good to have you all in the house. Now, we know we end at 7 because there are other content creators that are coming on. And as we build the CMR TV.com space, we try to get straight into it. But I do not want you to think that you're rushed. Your opinion matters, your comments, your feedback. Hi, look at my girl Iva's in the house. Oh, yeah. Girl, I cut with some Milo. I even had a new little Yvette. I thought this was Iva Hart. Sorry. Hi, Yvette. How are you? But Iva, I got a joke to share with you if you log on a little bit later with me and the Milo thing. Yeah. Connie, you got a right to laugh. Oh my gosh. You know what you're doing. You're just making sure you keep relevant. Jimbo knows what he got. But yeah, 936-8255 is a number to call. Your participation, your comments is vital. It's key. And your feedback definitely keeps the space going. But I have to let you know, I told you that I would be doing a Have You Heard segment, both local and international, because sometimes with everything that's going, oh my God, the news, everything that's happening, it's just so much to digest. And that's one thing with us content creators, I must say, from the year begin? Anyone who's in this, yeah, Denver. Um, Anyone who's in this content creator space, you ain't short of content. Now, how you deliver should be fair, impartial, and of course, it has been identified by you, our supporters, that we have been able to remain objective and just deliver facts, right? But we ensure the content, and it's almost like I got almost a week of content, just pretty much between 24 to 48 hours, but it all depends on how. What you will always get from me, though, is welcoming your feedback, because even though it is the Sabrina's space, the Sabrina Turner's podcast, it's nothing without hearing from you. And this is why I encourage your participation. I encourage your feedback, because I want to hear your views. I will bring topics. I will highlight certain things, right? But I need your feedback, because it's just not only, again, what information I share. I'm very cautious with my opinions because I want to remain nonpartisan. And that helps steer the conversation. It shows respect for each and every one of you who comment. And you will never get me judging you based on how you interact and how you engage. You'll see whether you lean this way, you lean that way. But it also opens up my perspective to maybe see it from a different perspective based on what my research is. And the good thing is, research isn't left or right. It's just facts. So you bringing another perspective, I try to make it hardly in life. There's when it comes to certain topics, especially politics and religion, you can't say you have a bulletproof delivery, because you just have to respect other people's opinions, right? But I will do my best to always give you based on research. And I challenge you to go to research a lot of the stuff that I present here, and you will find that it's there. And this is why I constantly make sure on the side I see what you're saying so that I can include you, because this is our space, right? So just looking at have you heard, because there's just so much going on, right? That today, I don't know if you've seen it, the progressives have filed a motion. This is locally. The progressives have filed a motion that could reshape how Cayman's democracy works at the district level. Okay. And what I got from that is that this motion aims to protect representation in each district. This is pretty much what I got out of it, ensuring that local voices are not diluted or even sidelined. And these are some of the safeguarding district seats, what it's going to or what it's being proposed, right? And this is about really keeping the balance of power, from what I'm getting from this, to the people rather than centralized. Now, I'm quite sure you will hear more about this when it's tabled on the next probably sitting of Parliament. And what it actually do is actually triggers this motion, will be triggering activating community councils. And what these councils would do is that they would give residents somewhat of a formal platform to raise concerns, possibly even shape policy and hold leaders accountable. And to be honest with you, it's also a move towards grassroots democracy, because you've heard it, but can you honestly say you're feeling it? And with the grassroots democracy, it's also taking this trajectory of strengthening the links between citizens and elected representatives even more. Now, we know the dynamics of the Cayman Islands political system because of our very size, the nature, and everyone pretty much knowing everyone, that MPs are pretty much very accessible, so accessible that people from other jurisdictions shake their head because of how front-facing we are. And it's just unique for us here. And we're seeing now where that now is leading into where this motion is, that it strengthens the link even more between citizens and elected representatives. So You may say, well, who cares? Why does it matter? You have been asking for district councils, right? This motion is triggering that. And in a time of what we're seeing happening in real time of global uncertainty, and we're hearing more about accountability and local accountability, that's becoming even more important. These district seats as being proposed here is envisaged or as proposed, which we will hear more from those who are tabling this, will actually safeguard representation is what is being proposed, while councils empower the communities at the district level, in this case, to speak up rather than to stay silent. How much times have you heard me actually say that here, that the silent majority can no longer be silent? And there's a portion of today's episode that talks about the consequences of remaining quiet, because I spoke to a young adult today, a young adult, Caymanian adult, who asked a very poignant question in regards to everything that was going on. So our young people are listening and they are getting very concerned. I like the fact that they have said they've gotten information, thank God, to some of the episodes here. They're also streaming other platforms as well and hearing other shows, and they're putting it all together, and they're all doing their own research. And it's heartwarming when they actually reach out to you and engage in conversations, which I will share that with you later on. But also, have you also heard yesterday that this whole thing about riding in the back of a truck is in a truck bed now? I thought the play on words for Sandra's article was quite comical, but I'll leave that there. But bottom line is that riding in the back of a truck is against the law here in the Cayman Islands, just in case you missed it. For anyone who is a local here and knows this was a fact. It was always in the law. I grew up here all my life, and pretty much I know that riding in the back of a truck is illegal, but it was not being enforced. And this falls under the traffic laws and should be. The responsibility rests on the shoulders of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, whose job is to keep a road safe. And but this safety isn't just a responsibility of the police. It's everybody's business. So I guess if they see where it's not being enforced, you're constantly seeing people riding in the back of truck beds. Everybody's saying, well, okay, obviously we're not hearing anything on it, but we're hoping PRs like this, educating one another on this, that we will see it, making sure that the police knows that they are in breach of the law should people be seen riding in the back of trucks, and they're not held responsible for breaking the law. So at the end of the day, when we follow the law, we protect ourselves, our family, and definitely our community. And I will always be an advocate for obeying the rules of the road and obeying the laws, period. And when you're saying even obeying the laws, it's not a punishment, even though it's maybe cool. I know when you go looking for crabs and that sort of stuff, oh my God, yeah, that's fun. It is pretty cool to ride on the back of a truck, I must say. I've done it as a child earlier, not since it's become illegal to do it. But it's all about prevention. That's the big takeaway. And we need to put value, because every life really matters and every voice counts in upholding that law. So I just thought it was important for me to also highlight that. But interesting play on words there on the CMR platform, definitely. Thank you so much, Denver, for acknowledging that. Yeah, like that, Milo, just like her. Shaka Zulu, how are ya? Good to see you here. Always good to have you in the house. Denver, perhaps the politicians are hearing Denny's cry for the people to stand up and let their voices heard. Maybe I'm hoping that they are. I know one thing for sure, Mr. Douglas. They listen. Every one of them listen. They either have somebody else listening for them, but eventually they do get feedback from all of the platforms. That's why they have comms. That's why they have PAs or persons watching out over them. And if there's a topic that comes up to a specific ministry, it will be smart, because this is where they actually can get and hear the voice of the people. And it's worse if they're not having quarterly meetings in their constituencies, or however, in whatever format they want to do it in. How are they going to know the pulse of the people? And this is what happens, unfortunately, when people says, well, oh, it's during the campaign season, I was hearing from you, there were all these meetings, yada, yada. Campaigning is totally different than after an election, okay? It's engaging and keeping your constituents informed of key things. And there are numerous of crafty ways you can do that by remaining connected with your constituents. And one of those places is, listening and coming on platforms such as this, and other platforms. And of course, engaging with those who have elected you. Now, there's also international. Now, let's look at the international scene of things. Of have you heard Australia's 2026? Yes, I'm going there. Australia's 2026 reset of its work permit system. So it looks like everybody, my love, is doing immigration reform. But even Australia 2026 has restructured or reset its work permit system. And it's all about raising the bar there in Australia. And when you look at the old rules versus what now they have in effect, they allow multiple overlapping visas. Lower salary thresholds are being addressed under the old rules, and uneven state targeting as well. Whereas with the new revision for 2026, the new rules consolidates more in a bespoke package, visas into skills in demand framework. That's interesting. And it also shows raises in salary floors, like minimum wage, which we saw here. And it even sharpens state priorities. So even impacts on international students, creating pathways for clearer, but also stricter pathways as well. So at the end of the day, when you look at what is new, they are consolidating into a streamlined skill demand framework, which means they have compiled a lot of data for years, which clears the streams of high skill essentials for and regional workers. So they got their hand on the pulse on what their demands are. And when you look at where employer sponsor foreign workers, in comparison to what was in effect, where employers could sponsor workers with variable processing times and inconsistent criterias for demanding these foreign workers. Under these new rules, now these employers, they have a sponsorship that is more simplified and it's more standard because it was a bit haphazard. But in these new rules, it comes with stricter alignment with national skills list and salary threshold. So even them, my dear, have been having issues of course. Now, at the end of the day, a part of what they're trying to do for permanent migration cap as well is that under the old system in Australia, that was adjusted year to year, often politically influenced. So what they have done with putting this permanent migration cap on it is that the cap now will remain under the new law steady, but quality is prioritized over quantity. So who they're allowing into their country is quality and not necessarily quantity. That will lead to fewer visa issuance, or what we call over here work permits, but definitely higher standards in who they allow to work in their jurisdiction. So at the end of the day, when you look at Australia's 2026 shift, it is structured as quality reset and not any and everyone. Higher salary thresholds that, of course, you will attract that higher quality. They got to be paid. And then what is being proposed in this new thing is streamlined skill sets and sharper state targeting. Now, when you compare that to us here in our Cayman reform, is when you compare the two, it may sound similar, but guess what? Ours is governance and protection reset. The Cayman Islands reform of what is
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, no worries. I'll hold it down so you can get back in. All right, cool. Hello, good folks. It's me. Hi. I'm so sorry. Sabrina got kicked out somehow and she's working on it. Little technical issue here. You get double dose of Sandy. Oh my goodness. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to just quickly. I am going to quickly play something so I can close my door because my door is open. Of course, Zeus is in the studio, so it probably hardly matters. But give me 1 second here. All right, honey child. Okay. Yes. I'm going to hold it down so she can jump back in. How's everybody doing? Everybody had a good day? Hello. Hi. I see you. Who do we have here? Shaka Zulu. Big up yourself. Honey child. How you doing? You're good? Awesome. We got pleasant surprise. He says pleasant surprise. Oh, yeah. Here I am. My lights are not on or anything. There. If I turn on my lights, it makes a huge difference. Hold on. I got one more light. Oh my goodness. There we go. And let there be light. So I was just I did school pickup early today, and look at what I was doing. Let me show you guys what I was just working on. You know, I'm always working on something. So here is the first that I'm aware of. Legal. Oh, I'm going to take off her background. Hold on. Oh, she got all fancy. Sunrise palms. I see you, girl. Look at this. The first legal bike that I'm aware of in the Cayman Islands. The little e-bike. This is the first one, I think. So I was sitting here putting it up a little bit to place it on social media and have a look with what I came up with. Let me show you. Honey child. So this is my rendition of it. Isn't that cute? We are legal. Look at that. It says on the license plate. So I'm going to post this up as a little social media post to show all of you that it can be done. You can do it. And so I'm just going to hold down the fort for Sabrina. But yeah, it's not awesome. Okay. I suspect maybe it's her internet. Something funny probably going on with the internet. I'm not sure. But anywho, yeah, I'm so excited. So I was just here looking at this and going, okay, that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to post that up on social. I'm not sure what happened. She said she got kicked out, so we'll hold it. What was she talking about? I'll hold it down for now. Marshall is here. Damien. What? Big up yourself, Damien. We got Irvelyn in the house, of course. Where's Jim? Is Jim here? Oh, there you are. Jim's like, hello. I love that. Let them and let me. Oh my God. I was listening to this thing. Is this what Sabrina was talking about? I don't even know. This woman got shot in the States. Did you guys see this? I was looking at the video of it all go down, and I must say, I am flabbergasted. Oh my God, America, fix yourself. This is a hot mess and then some. Oh, I don't like this. This is not good. This is not what immigration enforcement is supposed to be about. Oh, no. Did you guys see the video? Did Sabrina show you the video? All right, let me show you the video. They shot multiple times. I think we just posted something up as well. The mayor of Minneapolis is pissed off. Good thing we not on radio, honey child, because he was like, you guys need to get the fuck out of Minneapolis. I was like, the mayor? He is not happy. Look at this. Went down. Your discretion advised. Oh my God. So she was there with the car. This can't be enough for somebody over. Like she was kind of pulling her car in the front. And they told her to get out of the car. She said no. She's trying to drive off. And then you shoot the woman? Come on.
God!
This is not what
What
you
the
do.
What the You just what the did you do?
Oh my God. This is so horrific. My heart.
You are criminals!
No way. You're shot.
You!
37-year-old woman.
Shame! Shame!
Seriously.
Shame!
They have to cover their faces because they can't even. They're so shameful that they can't even people see who they are. This is out of control, America. Shame is right. Oh my God. So the mayor, Jacob Frey, denounced the surge of federal officers at a news conference that he held. Sabrina, I see you. I'm going to give you back your show, girl. And look at what he had to say when he denounced this act, because this is next level crazy. He did not mince his words. Oh my God. Hold on.
And you saw is not a drill, and it is not proper.
Oh no, sorry. That's not the video. I'm like, what the hell is this? Hold on. That is not the video I was looking for, honey. Chill. Give me 1 second. So yeah, he is not happy. He is like, oh, here we go. This is it. This is a piece of the press conference.
Little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave.
Well, honey child. Hello. That's what you call not mincing your words, girl.
I know, I saw that and I couldn't.
That mayor is not happy.
I had to, when you're doing stuff around the house, because I'm listening all day and I'm preparing content, right? And I'm like, no, I didn't hear that. And then I went back and I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, he did use the F-bomb. But the comments under that though is, wow, they're not looking at what he has said and based on the act. It is, they now have come after him and his state.
Really? No way.
Yeah, you got to go to the comments. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah. And I saw where on the news it popped up that the president is now saying that she ran over an ICE agent, which the video says otherwise. So,
absolutely not.
Yeah, and again,
the narrative so much now, it's getting ridiculous.
Correct. But I don't know what happened there, Sandra. Thank you for filling in. That's the power of this platform. Everything just went blank. Like that's what I get for talking about Australia.
I was wondering if your internet had tripped out or something. So the world has gone crazy.
Yes.
From an EU official where he warned the US that if they try to take Greenland, we will take all US bases in Europe. So this was from Austria's NATO partners. And he basically said if the U.S. annexes Greenland, which, I mean, I guess they would try. I don't think it's going to be that easy. That they would actually retaliate by taking all of the U.S. bases in Europe. Now, I don't know how many U.S. bases there are in Europe, but this is, what's his name? Austria's NATO Enlargement Committee Chairman, Fellinger. So he had some choice words for the Americans. There's a picture of him pointing. You do it, we're going to steal your bases. Does the world sound like it's gone crazy?
Well, I think
Hopefully
for
in
us,
2026 it'll be better.
the world, we used to hear that,
Oh
but
my
it was
God.
more on the other part of the world. Now we're feeling it. It's like the Western Hemisphere and the geopolitical climate is just suddenly changed. And that was a part of some of the discussion that I was going into, because I heard our great friend Danny there was asking, who would you like to be under if it was a powerhead? Would it be China or the US? And I actually have the difference. I did some research on that. What if, but, and then it went on to a lot of my research as well, that the Monroe, where that was derived, the Monroe ruling, and going back into time with all of that, and how you compare it with today and really what's happening. So you may say, well, is the United States being posturing themselves as saying, look, I'm the sheriff in this town, and going back in history from the 1800s, you're not going to step in my neck of the woods. But it's a different time now, because we've had other regional jurisdictions that have actually done business and partnered with other countries that is not necessarily friends of the United States now. And it's becoming a problem for small island development jurisdictions, which puts all of us at risk. And Sandra, in previous episodes of Sabrina Speak, I said the very nature of where the Cayman Islands is geographically located, proximity matters. And even though we're a British overseas jurisdiction, what is happening in the Americas as the Cayman Islands is under that catchment phrase, we could be impacted. Tourism, financial industry, shipping lanes, and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, we're protected by the UK. We're friends of the US, yada, yada, yada. But what, hypothetically, if he turns against the UK? Proximity matters.
This was a thing that I was saying this morning, right? Even about Greenland, the guest I had on this morning said, well, he's not going to do that. And I said, how do you know that?
Exactly.
I mean, if the man says something, you guys are telling us, you can't say, well, when it comes to Venezuela, he said it and he meant it. But then when it comes to Greenland, he's saying it, but he doesn't mean it. That's not logical.
Yeah. But
so
what
I
I do
understand that.
The Monroe Doctrine was what I was referring to. But what I don't understand, right, is that we are having these emotive responses instead of just being able to ventilate, to have open conversation without people thinking you're pro this one or anti that one. Let's just have the conversations. And that is what I feel is fueling the anger, the rage, because everything has to be linked politically and not, objectively. First, calling something out that's wrong if it's wrong. And I feel that's where we're losing hold on in even holding our political leaders accountable, because it ain't far if you see certain things sweeping in when with the behaviors of our elected officials. And this is not just locally, but if it's becoming a norm, Sandra, then what is democracy? It's just a word.
Yeah. So I see Denver here says that our government should be having talks with the US. Why? Our government has no power when it comes to international affairs. So why would we be talking to the US, Denver? Talking to them to do what exactly? And our position is what the UK says their position is.
Exactly.
We're not a sovereign nation.
Yeah.
And even if we were a sovereign nation, what would we be talking to them about? Do we have a peace prize we're going to share with them? We have a cookie, a piece of patty that we can cut our patty in half and give them half, and we'll take the other half. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Oh no, honey.
But this is what I don't want, to be honest, Sandra, with you, is for us to continue to live as our culture has actually highlighted, where we have capitulated, we have become so insular, we have refused to speak, even if there's concerns. And then really, I feel what our friends and colleagues, former colleagues, should be doing right now is updating and brushing up themselves on human rights legislation. Because even though we are a British overseas territorial jurisdiction and where national security is concerned, you are the defenders of the people. You are the voice of the people. And it's in your best interest to have your hand on the pulse with what's happening, so that when discussions and presentations are being made, that you can ask the poignant questions that is of substance because you have informed yourself not only historically, but how it plays into the what ifs understanding. The pillars that we rest on for our income is tourism, financial industry, Sandra. And again, it goes back to proximity.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ay. It is
So-
just the wild, wild west out there right now.
It is. And it's there. We are seeing, say what you want, an erosion of rights. We're seeing culture fear. We're also seeing, in many cases, call it what you want, the possibility of unstable leadership, or even leadership that just sways with the wind because we just want to behave ourselves. We don't want to get on the wrong side. But is that really what we should be doing at this time, or we stand for something? Really? We are in a critical time right now. We're at the crossroads. And I feel that we can no longer, as citizens, even though you say, well, what's the sense of speaking? We're only going to be blackballed. The UK, whatever they say we're going to have to do, but not based on the level of dialogue and conversations that have been exchanged on your platform, on this platform, and in the wider Cayman Islands. We are waking up, but I still feel and sense that there's leave it to the government. Leave it to the elected arm. They got me covered. They will make the right choice. But how are they going to be doing that if they don't hear from the people? We're not dumb.
Yeah, no, the people always have to stay informed, stay vigilant, and make sure that you know what's coming down the pipeline, or your government at least knows that you're keeping an eye on them. Because I kind of feel like this is an example of how anyone in the right set of circumstances can go rogue. Yes. And this is why there are checks and balances that supersede any one individual. So you know how people are oftentimes like, oh, I trust, just take the current premier, for example. I trust Premier Ebanks to do the right thing. He's a good guy. He's a good, upstanding guy. That's not what the system is about. The system is about what if it wasn't him?
Exactly.
It was somebody else who's not a good, upstanding guy. And so the system has to be able to account for any of those scenarios and still work effectively. You know what I mean? Hello, ma'am.
Correct. And it ties into, in all honesty, is just remaining engaged, being inclusive. And this is why, at the end of the day, with the motion that the progressives just filed today in bringing back that district level representation, it's really positioning this country in modernizing how we actually interact with officials from a district level. Now, it'll be good to see the other side of that. What are the risks in that? And how that could play out again, like what you rightfully say, what if it's somebody else?
Yep.
So there are pros and cons into everything.
Yeah. And that's why you've got to have those checks and balances in place. And the system has to be tightly, constitutional rights have to be tightly entrenched in a so-called democracy.
Correct.
And, governments have to be held accountable. They have to be checked. All of these things matter. All of these things are important, so that regardless of who is in power, it doesn't really matter, because you're not reliant on the person in power doing the right thing. The system will check them if they don't.
But do you think getting your emotions in check, even as common members of society, and this goes to even the elected arm, and just looking at it for what it is and what's happening around the world with the political and geopolitical climate right now that we're in, there's no time for emotions. You need cool heads at the table. You need people who are not insular, but also be frank and look at the risks before they even present themselves, understanding our delicacy here, how volatile we are. Should there be a shift in, let's say, currency, let's say tourism, let's say even access to shipping lanes so that we can get our food. These are real life scenarios that it doesn't matter what flag we're flying, could impact the well-being and safety of this jurisdiction. And I feel that this emotion of labeling it, oh, I prefer Andre, I prefer this group, I prefer that group. No, The campaign season is over. Let's look at what is before us right now, because it's going to impact everyone, good, bad, ugly. And we need to really be honest. How much power or how much say do we really have as a British overseas territory jurisdiction?
Well, I think in situations like this, we have to admit that we don't have very much at all. And I know that, the governor issued a statement over the weekend.
Yeah.
But even prior to that, we had MP Brian the week before, when things kind of start to escalate with Venezuela, request an actual position from the government. So he did send them an email. And basically they were like, oh, we'll wait on the FCO to get back to us. So it's not like the governor is in a position to do much. She's just relaying whatever message the FCO has. And so that didn't really give me a whole lot of faith, to be honest. But I was just like, okay.
There was a lot said, but a lot not said, because there's a lot that she can't say, because she, at the end of the day.
Yeah. So this was back in pre-Christmas that request was made. And basically it was kind of like, yeah.
But
what are you going to do?
Exactly. And I see where Damien Charles has said, don't be scared of fear mongering or gaslighting. No, we're not. We're just wanting people to speak up, Damien Charles. And to be honest with you, I think the more we educate on ourselves as a British overseas territory, that we understand, stay in your lane. This is where we can go. This is how high the ceiling is outside of being, speaking like we're independent. We need to just come with the realities of that. And don't talk about the word independence, because are we prepared for that? That'll be another very interesting discussion with what's happening geopolitically right now.
Nobody's suggesting that at all, because
you see what I'm saying? So
if we had to get our own military, Lord help us. I mean, I'm not quite sure how that would work for us. I mean, not for nothing, but those coconuts can't be used in
I understood you, Damien Charles. I understood you. I was just highlighting what you were saying. Yeah. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting, the turn of events that is happening. We are sensing fear. The video that you shared there is just heart-wrenching. If that is what it is on immigration reform, and you're seeing the stance, there's something about dignity. There's something about just dealing with.
You can enforce. This even comes back to what we do here with immigration enforcement and stuff, right? You can enforce your immigration laws and policies without doing so in an inhumane manner.
Correct.
And I think what we see going on with ICE, we have several people now die in ICE detention centers who, like one guy, he was a business owner and he'd been in the US for 30 something years, contributing to the economy and everything like that. I think to myself, there's a better way to do this. The way in which it's being carried out is really problematic. And I think that they feel, I guess, like they have the permission of this administration to do it any way that they want. Like they go to people's, homes. They go to people's homes. They're going into private businesses with, mask on and all sorts of stuff. And they have no right to be in a private business without a search warrant. So some of those businesses have actually turned them down and said, get out of here. You're not welcome here. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Schools and churches? At one point, were they going into churches and schools? That's supposed to be a safe place? When people have a court
hearing, most people believe that the justice system works and you can go to court and you can appeal these things and whatever. And even if they have a favorable appeal, they are being grabbed as they're walking out of court. They're being chased in the bathrooms at the courthouse. I mean, it's just too much. Like it just cannot be sensible. It's just, oh my God.
But when you do the separation of the political arm and the operational arm, somebody must have given an order for that to be done.
Well, clearly they feel like they have the protection from the administration whose position is just like, do what you got to do. We don't care. We don't care if you follow any laws or anything. Just round people up. And so I guess when you feel like you have that type of protection, you know,
What can you say otherwise based on the tone that's coming and you're seeing? Yeah,
and
when you're seeing.
nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. That is so incredibly sad that anybody would think above the law.
Jimbo is saying here, may I respectfully comment, until the full story of this incident comes out on the 37-year-old lady being shot by ICE, we should not be making assumptions and or pointing fingers.
Well, I think the video is pretty clear in what transpired, Jim. I mean, they're saying that she tried to run over an officer, and you can see it for yourself. I mean, there are protesters there. It was caught on video. You don't just shoot an unarmed woman through a windshield.
No!
See? He takes out his gun. Bam, bam, bam. Shot her in the head.
God!
Come again.
What the
He literally shot her multiple times and one straight through her head. Well, what fuller story do you need when you have this kind of video evidence of exactly?
You are criminal!
Let's back it up. They were telling her to get out of the car. She pulled out in front of them trying to do a partial block, and they were telling her to get out of the car, and she wouldn't get out of her car. So somebody's blocking a road, and that's okay to shoot him in the head? Come on. They could have done so many other things, like you're shot at a tire. They aimed straight for this woman. And as you can see, they're fully blocking the road because one car just went by her. One SUV just passed her. And she didn't move, and anything that happened.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my God! What the What the You just what the did you do?
I don't know what more of the story you need, Jim, but I guess we'll wait.
You are criminals!
You know, they're already making it up. They're saying that she was trying to
You!
run over, or she brought down
Shame!
an officer over.
Shame!
Where do you see that she was running an officer over? At this point in time, she wasn't even moving. She stopped. Another car went by. Obviously, I'm going to hit that car. This car could have passed by. She wasn't going to hit anybody. As you can see, she let the car in front of her go. Now they're trying to extract her from the car, and that's when she's backing up and trying to drive off. She was trying to drive off and leave them when they shot her.
God! What the What the
And then, of course, she
You
ran
just
into the cars
What
because
the
at that
did
point,
you do?
she'd been shot in the head. It's hard to watch.
You are criminals!
You know, it's really hard. They ran into the,
Shame!
and they don't even look like they're offering her any assistance. They're just walking away.
Shame!
They just walk away
Shame!
like they don't even care.
Shame!
They're not
Shame!
even rendering this woman any assistance.
Shame!
He's going back to his car to take off and leave. See? And go get somebody else. He doesn't even care. This is so absolutely inhumane. I cannot believe it. It's horrible.
This has gotten millions of plays around the world because I've heard it over and over all day being played on TV. And at the end of the day, what could happen with that if it's used as evidence? Because now, of course, the world is making a judgment, as Jim is trying to say, let's get the facts. I don't know, just that portion of that clipping. And as Keith said, he did not have to shoot her. That was murder. You know, I guess we just have to wait and see. But with everyone now, Sandra, to be honest, even questioning what news outlet, whether or not you can go by, let's say, one media house versus another media house because they switch the narrative to fit their political alliance. Is media really what it used to be, unobjective and just the facts and just putting your personal opinions aside anymore? Are you feeling that's why people are questioning everything so much?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, It depends on what kind of media you're talking about, you know? And there are media houses who make it very, very clear
What
that
who they're aligned to.
yeah, that they have a position, you know, and I guess if you know what the position is, you know what the position is.
Guess who's calling? Our friend.
Who's that?
Good evening, sir. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
So is it a 2-for-1 today?
Let me tell you, you got a bundle today. You got a bundle today.
Well, you're on a pretty somber note at the moment.
Yeah.
I watched the video and you know, I have two things I want to say about this. I think what he did was wrong. I don't think you'd kill someone for that reason. But to the individuals who are thinking about opposing ICE officers, here's my advice to you. You know their mindset. Do not put yourself in that situation. It's better that you try to resolve it by getting together, taking the matter to court or whatever to say, look, hey, you guys are a bit too trigger happy. Do something, but going out and just like trying to take on officers, I personally wouldn't do that. Not at all.
Well, let me ask you a question then, Penny, right?
But I think what they've done is wrong.
Yeah, let me ask you a question about not opposing them. So, for example,
I'm not saying not to oppose them. I'm saying don't go out in the middle of the street and challenge them in person. Take it on legally through some legal process. But don't go and take the officer on.
Let me ask you that question then, right? You know how I mentioned earlier that they're actually going into businesses, restaurants and stuff and trying to do that sort of thing in a restaurant, which is owned by someone. And a lot of those restaurant owners have said, you got to get out of here. We don't want you doing this in here. You have no legal authority to do so. You don't have a warrant. You can't do it. Are you saying that even in that situation, those business owners shouldn't stand up and say, leave to the ICE agents? Or are you just saying like something like this, where they're on a public street, not to protest?
Well,
like how far does, I'm trying to understand what the perimeters of what you've just said, like how far do you
think? I like that question. Every entity, whether it's a business or whether it's an individual, is subject to the law. And if I'm understanding what they're saying correctly, it would go something like this. It's a crime to enter a country illegally. And so it's not a matter of whether they have a right to arrest someone, take them into custody, process them, and ship them out of the country. There's no question that the person broke a law.
No, but that's not necessarily true because they're arresting American citizens even. So there's an assumption that who they're arresting it because they may have broken a law. They've actually arrested people who legally could be in the US. So that's an assumption that you've made that they're acting lawfully and they're not.
I'm not making an assumption. The only thing that I'm assuming is that, yes, the person that they're pursuing, they believe that that person is there illegally. Now, I'm not trying to say that they didn't make mistakes. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that the purpose that they're pursuing is to obtain persons who are in the country illegally.
But there are legal perimeters to them even being able to do that.
I am not saying no. Okay. I'm saying to you that if you say to an ICE officer, you can't come into this store. I'm not saying this is what I'm not saying to you that this is what they're going to do and this is how they're going to respond. I'm just giving an example. What if the ICE officer responds by stepping outside the door and saying, we have reason to believe that that person that we see inside your building is in the country illegally. Okay.
Well,
Well,
if they
you
do it
might say
outside,
that.
then I guess that's on them, but they're not allowing them to come in their business and do it.
No, I understand, but the question is if the ICE officer believes that the person they see inside there matches the identity of someone they believe is in the country illegally, can the shop owner hide that person from a federal agent?
Well, they're not
I don't
hiding them
think
from a
so.
federal agent, but as long as that person is in their property inside, ICE agents are not permitted. They're not supposed to be going into private property without a warrant, and they're doing that. So they've been
Okay,
going
and
into restaurants and stuff, and they don't have the legal authority to do that.
I,
And
I,
so business owners have been enforcing their legal authority and saying, no, you cannot come in here. You have to leave.
okay, and what I'm saying to you is, what if the ICE agent steps outside of the place
Well,
and
they
they're
can step outside
outside
and wait
in
for
the
them as long as they want, I guess.
right? That's not the only question. The other question is if the ICE agent is saying to them that they believe that that person is in the country illegally, are you saying that the shop owner can legally say, I'm going to help that person evade?
But that's not what these people are
enforcement of the
saying. They're
law?
just saying you are not coming
No,
in
no,
inside of her business to do this. They
Andrew,
don't care what's going
Andrew,
on
I
inside their
hear
business.
you. I hear
So, so then that's not what they're doing.
you're not listening to what I'm asking you. I agree with you, which is why
That's not if the
the
person has a
example.
lawful if the so-called illegal immigrant has lawful business inside the restaurant. They're sitting there eating, even if they're working there. That is not evading or helping that person to evade ICE custody. ICE has no legal
Sandra,
remit on the interior.
the reason why I
So,
said in the example that the officer steps outside of the property, he's outside. I'm acknowledging that he can't go in without a warrant.
okay.
But I'm saying, I'm asking you, okay, now this person is aware that law enforcement is saying that they believe the person they see inside the store is a person who's in the country illegally. And they're saying, I need to speak to that person. Are you saying
Well, when they
that?
come outside, they can speak to them. I mean, I'm not
Okay,
understanding the
but
point.
but until then, what
Yes.
you're saying is that they can know that the person that's inside their business, and they have no obligation to the
To what? To
country,
keep
to
them
the state.
out?
Well,
I mean,
to
eventually they're going to
and
leave, right? I mean, presumably,
right,
no one's going to stay
I
there forever.
understand that. I want you to tell me that they have no obligation to assist the law in obtaining that person.
Mhm.
That's what you're saying to me. They have no obligation to do so.
No obligation to help ICE?
Yes.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Do they work for
So,
ICE?
no.
No.
I don't know what all of the laws are and the way in which they're worded. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I'm asking you.
yeah.
And so, um, but I don't agree with that use of force that took place there in the video out in the streets. Well, it doesn't matter if it's in the streets. If somebody isn't posing a threat to a law
Mhm.
enforcement officer, in other words, they're not trying to
Yeah.
injure them, they're just trying to get away. Well,
Right.
the
And
question then,
Tim,
the question here is how you could think of it in the Cayman context. If the person, I don't know whether that's the case with this woman that was shot,
mhm,
but
mhm.
in the way the right to life is worded in Cayman, and the derogation to the right to life is that if the Cayman Islands Police Service believes that the person who is trying to avoid being arrested is a danger to society. The Cayman Islands Constitution order allows for the RCIPS to use all the way up to deadly force to prevent that person from escaping. That's in the Cayman Islands Constitution order. Now, I don't know all of the laws in the U.S. about this, but I'm just saying that I think that was grossly excessive force.
Yep. Well, her family will have a good lawsuit now, but unfortunately, she's not coming back. Ms. Dorothy says, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, and I've never heard the police shooting anyone in the Cayman Islands. That's actually not correct. We had a police commissioner. Was it that he shot him, Denny, or he ran him over with his car?
Ran him over with his car.
Ran him over with his car. Okay. Yeah, Dorothy.
He pinned him against the fence.
They have shot people, though. There was a guy that they shot who was a criminal, allegedly, and he was trying to get away. And I think in the act of him trying to get away is when he got shot, as I recall.
I think that was an incident in Windsor Park area a years ago. I think.
I think
I don't remember that
one or two, Dorothy. It's probably not wide, obviously, because most of our officers don't even carry guns. But there was some kind of operation.
I know of an incident where someone was trying to escape the police. I think it was on North Church Street, and the police officer shot out the tire on the car to try to prevent the person from getting away, and lost his job.
And they shot the tire.
He shot the tire.
And Kim says, why couldn't he have just shot at the tire? That's what I said earlier, Kim. I think there was.
Yeah, but here he was fired.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys want an exclusive? Before I go, I'm going to let Sabrina take over because I'm on mommy duty now, so I got to give somebody some work and other stuff to do. But I thought you'd enjoy this little exclusive video. Remember Mikey, the Caymanian that was in ICE custody? Here's an update.
Everybody, I'm driving, so I can't really look at the camera, and it's probably bad. But I just got a call from our lawyer, and my husband's case has been reopened. So I am very, very excited to...
At the next traffic lights, turn right.
Sorry. I'm very excited to get a call from my husband so I could tell him the good news. I am so grateful to everybody. We're not out of the woods yet, but this is a major hurdle. So I just literally got off the phone with my lawyer. They said that the judge looked at his case, reopened his case. They removed the removal order, and that he's back to where he was the whole time he's been here, which was which is a legal status that now he can officially change with me as his husband. He's totally eligible for his green card. Now we're back to doing the process and all the right things that we've been doing all this time. Now, there's still going to be maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3, where we still have a hearing with a judge to explain everything, and hopefully that judge will grant us the green card. And also, we need to bond him out. So that GoFundMe money is going to come in real handy, because we're going to bond his ass right out of there and right back into my arms. So I couldn't wait to make a formal video. I'm going to get my damn haircut. And I'm just, I'm so happy. I'm so relieved that at least we are headed in the right direction. We are not out of the woods yet. We still have a bunch of more hoops to jump through. But overall, this is all very favorable. This is all very good. So I can't wait for my husband to call me so I can tell him. It sucks that I can't call into him. I know the lawyer's going to try to call into the facility too. But, you know, it being ICE facility, we don't know how they handle that kind of stuff. So I can't thank everybody enough for rooting for us, for praying for us, for signing the petition, for donating money, for sharing our story, for everything. And I'm so, oh God. Oh God, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I'm so relieved. I can't tell you guys how much it really means. Like, there have been so many of you that have sent me personal messages, that have reached out, that have given so much to me when I had no more to give. And this is just the most, we were saying today is day 44 that he is in the facility. And I was on the phone with my pastor, Reverend Amanda, this morning.
So that gives you an idea. Obviously, you know, people are relieved. This is but one story. This is someone that we know. So I don't know. It's just, I mean, I feel like, you know, someone who lived in the US for 15 years, you know what the laws are. In my case, I went there as a child, and I know that my aunt got legal advice and she did things the right way. I can't imagine living in an environment where you have done things the right way and you still feel like you could be arrested and detained at any minute. Like, you've got your papers, you've got your documentation, and you can still be arrested and detained at any minute. And it's got to be like, I can tell you now, if I were still there in this situation, like surrounded by all of this, and I was a green card holder, for example, or even, you know, because they are picking up American citizens as well, because, oh, you weren't born here. I'm pretty sure I would leave that country, because, you know, I actually have an option of coming to another country. So many people come here. This is a beautiful place. And I can never condone this type of behavior, the way in which, you know, you almost feel like I don't know what life was like with during World War II, when the Germans would go around picking people up. Yes, obviously they were taking them to gas chambers, and I'm not comparing that part of it, but the type of fear that people are living in, the type of even relief that this guy is getting after, you know, Mikey has been in detention for over 45 days. It's just, I couldn't imagine living with that constant type of stress in your life. Like, that's got to be really, really hard and really, really difficult.
Right. So
And
for the record, the gentleman is not Mikey. That's the
No,
husband.
this is Mikey's husband, right? So Mikey is still in custody, but he's saying that it sounds like they're getting closer now. And Mikey claims that he didn't, you know, do anything wrong, and that they notified him of a date that he never got notification of and he didn't know anything about. So what could have been a clerical error has now meant that this man has been in custody for 45 days. And these places where they have them housed in custody are not nice places at all. So listen, unless you've been in this situation and you've been in somebody else's country, the fear that people must be having is real. I mean, I had a little bit of it as an adult, like, oh my God, I got to make sure I'm doing things right. I got to be compliant. And, you know, if I'm no longer a student, when I finish university, like, how long do I have to leave? And this was way back in the 90s. There's nothing like what's going on now happening.
But even if they were being sent back, for example, because we've got breaking news here, you
country.
posted it to your own country. You see where Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda has agreed to receive asylum seekers. Now, hello.
There's people to Africa, to countries that they have never been to, that they know nothing about. Why would I want to go and be in some foreign country where I don't speak the language and they don't have the same types of human rights protections, et cetera, et cetera? Like, it is such a bizarre thing to execute the law in this type of way. And I find it hard to understand how people think that this stuff is right.
But
like,
we hear,
enforce the law. I'm all for enforcement.
But small island development states, and just for the record, Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda is actually
where do they have
their CARICOM, but they already have their own issues as a small island development state. And I mean, when you look at it, maybe it's one of the 38 countries that they're trying to get off of that high visa list where they're banned, maybe in trade off for being removed from that not allowed in my country. I stand to be corrected. I think they were on a list, Dominica. They were on a list as one of 38 countries.
It is crazy that a lot of people, in order to get that U.S. visa for their citizens, are willing to compromise their own positions. I mean,
Correct.
someone said the following in terms of what this might be compared to, and they said that the Americans rounded up the Japanese and put them in concentration camps right there in America during World War II. Japanese Americans lost their homes, jobs, businesses, etc. And that is true. I mean, listen, I feel torn because I did live in the US, and part of my heart loves America, but my brain that is logical and sensible, right, tells me to put those feelings aside, because the history of what Americans, the government, has done to people has been horrific. Killing people.
Sandra.
What they did to the Japanese Americans is one example. The Tuskegee what was it called again? The Tuskegee Research Project or whatever, right? Injecting people with diseases, African Americans, to see, oh, is syphilis gonna kill them? Like let's just give them something and see what, you know. There's something to be said for people who don't trust the government and who question every single thing the government does. You can't just blindly follow any government because, oh, it's a democracy and they're going to do right by the people. They have proven time and time again in very, very atrocious ways that they will violate the human rights of people, of individuals, and then they sit in judgment of other people. Now, I'm not comparing them to Venezuela. They're not on that level, but there are times when in history they have done stuff that is just as bad.
Danny was weighing in on something.
Oh,
Danny?
I'm sorry. Is he still there?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. You see, Sandra, how the government is dealing with you. Unfortunately, there are people who think that you will be able to defend them and their rights so they can just remain silent. But that's not always going to be true, because situations will occur that you won't have standing. You can be sympathetic towards their situation, but unless they step forward individually, that'll determine whether anything is done at all. But what you're talking about is about the unfortunateness of governments abusing people's rights. Think about this for a second, is that the fact that you have a Bill of Rights in a country is like a receipt that is evidence that governments abuse rights. So it became necessary to restrain the government. Now, the problem is that the average person doesn't appreciate that that the entire concept of a society is that we help each other in these common efforts, like defending rights, as an example, not just because it isn't affecting you directly at this moment, doesn't mean that that same government won't come for you later. And if you have to stand against the government by yourself, it's at that moment in time that you're going to understand why it's important to be sympathetic to people who are defending, asserting and defending their rights, even if you disagree with the right that they're asserting.
Because of what pressures are put against you individually. Yeah.
Right. Because it's a collective effort.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with the government, which has endless resources, right? And it's not until you're walking in those shoes that you realize how powerful the government is. And I just want to encourage people not to continue being silent, but for us to all help each other to assert those rights, because you never know whether it's you, your child, your extended family who is to be next. Please, in 2020, politics. Do not just sit down and because the situation that the government is putting you in right now, Sandra, I worry about that. That's a very dangerous road the government is traveling on. And in the Cayman Islands, there's too much silence. Please, 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 let's change that.
That goes
No.
back into an earlier conversation that Sandra and I were having before you joined us about the silent majority can no longer be silent, but then they're fearful of a retaliation, retribution, and then they leave only certain people out front to actually fight the fight. But then look at what's happening, as you've alluded to.
Yeah, but okay. See, this is where this conversation about the type of society that we, type of governance model that we have is important. The more freedom you have, the more risk you're taking. So what happens is politicians promise you protection and safety if only you would give up X, Y, and Z. But understand that when the more you give up, the more you're becoming dependent.
Right.
Right. And so you're then become at the mercy of the state because they have more power over you. And the question is, the promise of safety isn't really going to be delivered because at the end of the day, the government is going to act. Usually, when I say government, I'm talking about usually the ones who are willing to do whatever is necessary to get elected. You're not talking about the most moral character. Okay? And so those persons are going to decide, well, what should I do? And I guarantee you, in the vast majority of the cases, they're going to act in their own interest and not in your interest.
Let me put you on hold to merge this other caller. Good evening, caller. You're live. Danny, continue.
And so we shouldn't be lulled into believing that somehow if we just, let the government do this and let the government do that, it would be okay. No, remember this. It was the government before Hitler that banned guns. Look at what happened when the next administration came in. They had no ability to resist an overwhelming force. Now, there were some Jews who fled into the hills and had an armed resistance for a few weeks. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. But that, having a few is no resistance.
Yep.
And I know you might think, well, that's not going to happen to us. Well, that's what every victim says. It's not going to happen to me.
We'll leave us there because we're winding down. We got another caller on hold.
All right, take care.
Thank you so much. Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Good evening, Auntie Sabrina.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. Is Sandra there with you still or no?
Yes, you got a bundle today. We got to pay her for overtime. Yeah, she scooped in. I had technical issues, and she just kept it going for me.
Well, I just wanted to say, in terms of kind of piggybacking off of what Denny was just talking about, what people need to remember is that it's the institutions that help us to preserve the decency within a democratic society, right? And they need our help as well. And you have to make them yours by acting on their behalf, because institutions don't just protect themselves. All right? So choose an institution you care about. In this case, we have our platform, our beloved platform, Cayman Marl Road, and take its side. You don't have to agree with everything Sandra says, but the fact that there's a platform offering alternative points of view, right, and that there seems to be an attack on this platform or the owner of this platform, right? People need to be very careful about defending institutions. I wanted to piggyback off of something that Denny said, right? We tend to assume that the institutions are going to automatically maintain themselves against even the most direct attacks. And I don't know if Denny said it already because I'm kind of late to class, so apologies, teacher, for being late to class. But on February 2nd of 1933, there was a leading newspaper for German Jews that published an editorial expressing a mislaid trust in the Nazi government. I just want to read to you that letter. Okay? This is an English translation of the letter. It reads, "We do not subscribe to the view that Mr. Hitler and his friends, now finally in possession of the power they have so long desired, will implement the proposals circulating in Nazi newspapers. They will not suddenly deprive German Jews of their constitutional rights, nor enclose them in ghettos, nor subject them to the jealous and murderous impulses of the mob. They cannot do this because a number of crucial factors hold powers in check, and they clearly do not want to go down that road. When one acts as a European power, the whole atmosphere tends towards ethical reflection upon one's better self and away from revisiting one's earlier oppositional posture." Now, that was the view of many reasonable people in 1933, just as it's the view of many reasonable people now. And the mistake is to assume that rulers who come into power through institutions can't change or destroy those very institutions, even when that is exactly what they have announced that they will do. Right? It took less than a year for the new Nazi order to consolidate. And by the end of 1933, Germany had become a one-party state in which all major institutions had been humbled. And that same November, the German authorities held the parliamentary elections without opposition and a referendum, all right, to confirm the new order. And then some of them same German Jews voted as the Nazi leaders wanted them to, in the hope that this gesture of loyalty were going to bind the new system to them. Now, we all know the results of that. What is it now? 1945, 80 years later?
Yep.
Right? So it's important that, you know, in order to, one of the lessons from the 20th century is that we defend our institutions, not the personalities. It's not about Sandra. It's not about, you know, whatever position, whoever sits in the seat. It's about the fact that this is a platform that that has spoken up to so many people in this country and so many people in not only in this country, in the region, right? And I think people need to this is the time when people need to get behind and not sit on their fingers and, oh, you know, Sandra will deal with it, or this person will deal with it, or, you know, well, we got freedom of speech in this country. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do nothing. No. Now is the time to make your voices heard, and you need to embody that defense in everything you say and do when you're interacting with people.
Thank you for that feedback, caller. Very inspiring, and hopefully the people will take that call, that heed.
Good night.
Good night, my dear.
Yeah, I mean, history, you know, I think what happens a lot of times is, number one, none of us were, me, you, that caller, we were not alive during World War II. We don't understand how the rise to power happened with the Nazis. And so we have to educate ourselves. We have to be students of history in order to never forget these lessons. And that's one of the interesting things about the Trump administration that a lot of people have really refused to admit, is that he has gone about trying to rewrite history, tear down everything from statues to stuff at the Smithsonian Institute and so on, to reconfigure the narrative. Like, oh, there wasn't really any slavery. Oh, you know, the Nazis were not that bad, or that didn't really happen. And so even with the rewriting of history, that alone is done strategically, because then it's easier to fool people. People, least you forget. We just had Remembrance Day not that long ago. And people forget why millions of people have fought wars, civil wars, you know, World War I, World War II. If they forget what America at one time stood for in terms of the principles, where will we be left? You know, the saying that if you don't know where you've come from, how do you know where you're going?
Correct.
Someone shared in relation to the police commissioner running over that guy, they said he ran him over. I was there personally. It was on New Year's Day. It was Diamonds International armed robbery, and it was 5 ships in town. The commissioner was picking up a friend from one of the ships and was driving by when he saw the activity. He circled back around from Mary Street side, and the robbers were trying to escape in their vehicles. He rammed and broke the wheel off the vehicle. Then one of the robbers was trying to escape at the back, entering the Parliament property, but the commissioner ran him over. They had to jack up the commissioner's car to remove the vehicle from on top of him. So that was that situation there. Wow.
That is something. Why would I see your comment here, and I don't know if you're seeing it. Stop fairmongering, for Christ's sake. Why would people think what we're sharing here is fairmongering?
Because that's the best they got. They don't have any facts to come at.
No, I would like to find out from what element would they say, based on the level of discussion, the quality of information we're sharing it. We're showing it full circle.
Can't speak facts because
You see
when
what
they
I'm
don't
saying?
happen, they go for the motive angle, and the best they can do is, oh, this is fear mongering. This will never happen. I'm sure people pre-World War II said that would never happen too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get where it's fair mongering. We're sharing it. We're trying to be as balanced as we can. And that's what it's all about. But it's not fair mongering. If you're nervous, maybe they're scared, Sandra. Maybe they're scared. Why it's coming across that way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're afraid of because, again, freedom of speech.
Oh.
All of the negative speech that's out there, that's not fear mongering. When people get up and say, we're going to kill people, we're just going to kill them. We're just going to kill them. I don't see these same people saying, oh my God, well, why would anybody say that?
Denny's calling back.
I'm going to remind you, just give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull up this clip from President Clinton. What's his name? President Trump.
Are declaring war against these cartels, and Congress is likely to approve of that process. Why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead. Okay?
Yeah, you just kill people without any due process. That's okay. That's not fear mongering. That's okay.
And then you're going to be dead.
Yeah. They're just going to be dead. I mean, the question is, why not ask for declaration of war? He never answered the question. He didn't say why. He just said, we're not going to do it. We'll just kill him.
Well, and then he answered it in his way.
I mean, like we say, let them. When they tell you something, let them believe them, what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Denny called back. Hey, Denny.
Okay. I would imagine that in a scenario where a person is highly biased towards a government, describe these kind of comments about what governments do as fear-mongering because it's advantageous to them.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be that the person is just ignorant of how governments actually behave. But I find that one hard to understand because, like I just said a few moments ago, the fact that we have a Bill of Rights that would need to tell the government not to interfere with a person's freedoms, obviously something had to happen in order for them to go to the trouble of creating that type of legislation, right? Because governments usually respond to events. And I would imagine that that if nothing had happened, they could say, well, you don't think that's a stretch that we need to do that in light of the fact that nothing like that has ever happened before? That person really, I would suggest that they take the time to look at human rights and why they exist and stop with that kind of response. Because, just saying this, you see, Sandra, you said it good. You said that's all they have, right? When someone cannot respond to the issue that's being discussed, they usually resort to a personal attack.
Yes.
That's not helpful. That's not good communication. It doesn't resolve issues. All it does is make you continue to believe that you're right, so you don't actually need to engage in conversation with such ignorant people making these comments, not considering that you yourself may learn something.
See from a different perspective.
Yeah. I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to run. I'm going to leave the rest of
15 minutes to go.
You're holding on. You're holding on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go. I did put this up here, just a reminder about First They Came. This is always a good reminder of what happens when you sit back and you say nothing. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.
Yep.
Wow. That's I'm gonna end on that note. I'm gonna turn it back over to the proper host tonight. And by the way, I made note of how fancy you have gotten with all of your backdrops and stuff. I took it off because I was showing a picture, but look at you.
Oh yeah, I'm just doing the AI generation on the StreamYard platform.
Gosh.
It allows you to put in what you want, and you can do it. It's an AI. It's a tab there. You can create that yourself.
Oh, yeah. I've never used that creation option. Yeah.
I have a thing with water. So of course it's calming for me.
Island girl.
So I did it, and I kept saying redo, and now this is what I want, and this is the feeling that I want, and bang, I felt it.
Nice, girl. You've come a long way, baby.
Yeah. I'm still growing.
Right? Yes. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna get back on duty.
Okay.
And
thank you so much.
I'm going to be posting a new e-bike that is fully compliant to show people it's possible. You can get licensed, you can get insurance, you can get fully compliant.
Yeah, I heard you said you were checking insurance companies to see.
Yes, I've got some feedback. I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be in a position to actually publish it. So I have gotten a few responses in the new year, and I'm going to collate it and put it all together.
Okay, good. So that'll be interesting for all of those persons who depend on this as their mode of transport to just be compliant. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a good
one.
Right. Good night, everybody.
Likewise. Good night. There we have it. We have almost 10 minutes to go. And my apologies for whatever happened. But I saw, and I did actually, somebody asked me when we were doing that I should go and research obstruction of ice or something like that. There was a question that was posed. I actually went and grabbed it. Where is it? There we go. Let me put it up on the screen so you can see what is considered obstruction and what we said. And that was in that moment, what would be considered obstruction. And it says lying to ICE agents about someone's whereabouts. That's the action. And then you see the possible charges and then the notes to come along with it. And then another action of obstructing them is hiding undocumented individuals during an ICE raid, destroying immigration records or IDs, and physically resisting ICE arrest. You get it? And then you see here in another column in regards to the charges that would, if you're found breaking these laws of right here. So I'm just really answering that question that was posed. What would be considered blocking of ICE? And this is what, thanks to AI, came up with. And then the possible charges for lying to ICE agents is, these obstruction of their proceedings and harboring under these different U.S. sections and all the destruction of records and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I got. I hope that actually helps answer that question. Once I get the information, I definitely try to share it with you in real time based on your ask. But we mentioned in regards to some of these people who are, Keith, all right, thank you. Yes, thank her for holding it down as well. What drug cartels? They're fishermen just fishing. Damien, you're something else. Now is a vehicle considered to be a weapon? Well, Indefinitely, some people have been charged in the US for using vehicles, and we've seen where they have been used to go through crowds and kill innocent bystanders at public gatherings. So pretty much, yeah, at the end of the day. And going back to what we were saying in regards, and this is just a piece that I'm grabbing out of what I was supposed to deliver prior to those technical difficulties about Dominica and Antigua and Barbuda having agreed to receive asylum seekers from the United States. What was interesting is the fact that they're both CARICOM members. And, as a small island developing jurisdiction, we already have our sort of challenges. We already have with limited resources, some more than others. And then the question would rise as to why even accept it? And we are seeing where it's almost bartering, trading, trying to be on the good side of the United States. At the end of the day, perhaps for diplomatic ties, economic incentives, maybe they need that, or just humanitarian duty is some of the reasons that could actually be the reason that they have settled for that. But at the end of the day, with these diplomatic relationships for being one of the jurisdiction to take these asylum seekers, they're probably strengthening their ties with the U.S. through their cooperation and being willing to do that. And it also can also lead them into possible aid packages or investments or even the whole support in these migration. And then maybe it's just outright bottom line of humanitarian responsibility. But then there are some potential threats where national security could be concerned. I know it does, Damian Charles, in real time. So I'm just trying to help you. When you look at national security risk for this, you can't play a blind eye to this being a reality, that what would be the screening and vetting of these asylum seekers could actually strain already limited resources of these small island developing states. And there is a true risk of infiltration of criminal networks and extremist elements as well. And then you look at all the dynamics of the cultures of that jurisdiction, and what we find in small population countries like ours and these jurisdictions, they may actually struggle with absorbing this sudden influx of people. And it could also provide or pose pressure on even their healthcare systems and employment. So, but at the end of the day, there is political sensitivity that is afoot as well. And citizens may question whether or not, their leaders are prioritizing local leads over external agreements. We don't know. This is why open dialogue is key in situations like this. Now, for us here in the Cayman Islands and, of course, the wider Caribbean, this raises a possible question. We're not CARICOM full member states, so just extrapolate us, but it's still a wider question. How prepared are we to manage? Because we have said that, manage human migration if external powers shift asylum responsibilities onto small jurisdictions. We got to look at that, and at the end of the day, for small island development jurisdictions, migration inflows will actually put the test of resilience. And it is what it is, a fragile economies that could lead into destabilization. So these are all the things that we need to consider for this. And who else may be actually finding themselves up against a wall that may actually say, hey, I'll take them in. So we have to just keep looking at it in a wider scope of things. But that is what's happening in our region. And I hope I was able to expound on that, giving you some reasons as to why they may have actually opted to do that. Anything can be used as a weapon, including vehicles, White said. And an e-bike that goes through 25 miles an hour should be registered as a regular bike. I see you're very busy. Have a nice one. Yep. So Damian Charles, Sabrina, just an FYI, the searches on Google and AI changes every 72 hours. Well, I was, like I said, just giving the information in real time based on as I had it, because I wasn't just going to go fly off the top. And at the end of the day, it's all about giving you the most recent information. And that's why laws and policies change based on the day. So yeah, it is what it is. But Damien, those islands are on the gray list for years and did not comply. So exactly, that plays into exactly what I'm trying to say, Damien. Maybe it's a trade-off. We don't know. Yeah. Jimbo is saying, Damien Charles, 1910 to 1920, courts began saying vehicles could be used as a deadly weapon. Oh, really, Jimbo? Yeah, and Damien is saying, you can see, I didn't realize that. I'm aware of that. That's why ICE agents felt threatened. She would not stop or comply. Oh, that's going back based on the video. Yeah, so there we go. This is what, again, I tell you, we are entitled to our opinions and we're sharing of information here in real time. And things change. They're very fluid. We're seeing what's happening. We're seeing what's happening regionally and around the world. And the mere fact that it's evoking emotions of what we're seeing displayed, not only locally, but also around the world. We're seeing the comments. And yes, I do read comments on a lot of the posts to get a sense of exactly what people are feeling. And it should say then that everybody, especially in the Western Hemisphere, is wide awake. Now, I know I didn't get into the full, I would say, meat and potatoes of what I wanted to deliver, because we're hearing a lot about these terms of NATO. We're hearing, but what if China was the ruler? We're in the Western Hemisphere. We're seeing Russia taking up precedence and all this sort of stuff, or taking up space and all that sort of stuff. Who would you prefer to be ruled by if it was a real stronghold player in the Western Hemisphere? I wanted to break that down for you and just break down the Monroe Doctrine and compare it to then versus what we're feeling now. And I feel I will actually, in a consolidated format, bring that to you tomorrow, because I think it's that important that we understand exactly what's afoot, what's happening, and to keep us informed of really everything that's going on. Now, of course, in real time, we had that video. We saw what happened there with ICE that can change the trajectory of the conversations. And we've seen the comments that you've had here in the Cayman Islands, where law enforcement officers executing their duties obviously felt that they're at risk. And we saw where one commenter said that a police officer was charged for shooting someone in the hand to avoid another person getting stabbed. So again, at the end of the day, it all depends on the cultures, the laws that governs a jurisdiction. But what we're seeing when Denny actually makes the comments about remaining silent, the Bill of Rights, your constitutional rights and all that sort of stuff, and it plays into speaking and the importance of speaking out. The more we remain silent, the more diluted it would appear. And you're pretty much opening up the door for your rights to be infringed on. Because if you remain silent, knowing exactly what's happening, that the rug is being pulled from under you, your rights are actually being extorted. They're just removed from you, but you remain silent. What's the sense? The Bill of Rights. What does it mean then when that happens, if you take the road then to remain silent? So I want to thank each and every one of you for staying with me today. I really, really am grateful for it. I want to thank Sandra again for stepping in. I don't know what the heck happened, but the entire board went black. I just lost everything, and she stepped in for me. So yeah, Jimbo is saying Denny is packed full of knowledge. Yes, he is. And I already said it, and I'll say it again. One of these days, they're going to thank Denny. They're going to thank this country. It's him and so much more that has contributed to this space and have been speaking out loudly about some of the things that I feel, just like Bojangles failed, just like Taco Bell failed. It's like he's ahead of their time. And now for him, it's repetition. It's coming back. But I said this already. Remember when I said that? Trust me, he's ahead of his time. And now there's a platform that we're going to unearth a lot of stuff. We're going to be bringing up some conversations that are topical, that are emotive. And I can see by the feedback, some of you may even get ticked off at how it's presented, but that's okay. That's what it's for. At least somebody had the fortitude to get it started. Somebody has been doing the research. Somebody's trying to educate the community. It's here for you to take it up, right? You can take the horse to the river, but you can't make. But the good thing about these spaces, you can always go back and watch us. It has been a pleasure bringing you another episode of Sabrina Speaks. My time is up for this evening. I look forward to being back here with you tomorrow evening at 5 for another exciting episode where we'll continue exactly what I intended to cover today and add some more as well for your knowledge and information. It has been a pleasure. As usual, love you lots. God bless and have a good evening.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.